So I'm going to say it out loud. Probably not going to like what I have to say. But don't ever buy a new car again. At least I'm not going to. I'll tell you why. Thank you for hanging out with Popsy Guy. Well, I'm here at a Nissan dealership bringing my car in for service. And I'm looking around at the price of the vehicles here. You've probably heard about what's going on at Nissan. Nissan's got some tough times ahead of them. They actually wanted to be taken over, actually sell themselves to Honda, but Honda saw the writing on the wall and decided that's not a good partnership for us to have. So I'm walking through this dealership and I'm noticing that, first of all, I drive a 2016 Murano. It's got 150,000 miles on it, and I'm bringing it in for the 150,000 mile service. And I thought, well, I'm going to walk around and look for a replacement Murano just in case. They have 6 of them, and they start at $45,000. So you and I both know what's going on with interest rates right now. Even at a 0% interest rate, and if I didn't want to put any money down, I'd be financing 45 or 50 grand over 6 years. That's a big payment. And I'm going to walk away from the music because I don't want a copyright. I hope they'll pick this up. Anyway, I'm just here to tell you, I think it's crazy. I really do. Very much like the video I put out just the other day about how to guarantee that your house will sell this year. Price it below what everybody else is pricing their homes. Prices are too high. These cars are not worth 50 grand. The car I have is a 2016 brand new. I think it might have been $28,000. And so here we are, just not even 10 years later, 9 years later, right? 16 to 25, twice the price. Rule of 72 says that's a 7 to 8% increase in the cost of these cars, but the cars aren't that much better. I would take my 9-year-old car over any one of these that I see on the lot because I just not impressed. Anyway, so that's why I'm never going to buy another new car. I'm going to give you a quick history on the last 20 years of cars I've owned. Let's see, this is 2025. We'll start in 2005. I was driving a 2000 Volvo S80 that I bought in 1999. So in 2005, I still had the car, and it finally died about a year later with 190,000 miles on it. So I went to my next car again. That was the last new car I bought, was in 2000. That's, what's this, 25 years ago. Every car I've had since then has been a car that I've purchased or has been given to me by other people. And every single one of those cars, I can tick them off. A Ford Explorer, 1999 Ford Explorer. And then a 1997 Grand Marquis. A 2004 Camry. Every single one of those cars that I owned, they're older cars. They're not that special, but I'll tell you what, I put a lot of miles on them. The Camry was given to my wife and I as a way to continue to transport ourselves to back and forth to church, because the Grand Marquis finally gave up the ghost. The Grand Marquis was, as I said, had a, well, I didn't say, it was a what year was that car? That was a 99. And it finally died with just about 195,000 miles on it. And the engine block cracked, and it would have cost $1,500 to replace it. Well, I didn't have $1,500. So friends at church said, we know of a car. It's a 2004 Camry. And the fellow that said, I know who owns it, and they want to make sure somebody who needs it can get it. But it's got like 400,000 miles on it. I said, wow, I don't know if I can do 400,000. Well, he finally showed me the car, and I looked at it at 140,000. He goes, well, 400, 140. I didn't know the difference. I kept that car for a couple of years and gave it right back, which led us to buy this car. So we bought this car off of a place that you probably know of and have probably either done business with them or been on their website. It's called Carvana. So back in 2000, I cannot keep track of time. 2019, I purchased this car on Carvana for like 20, I think it was 21,000. And I love this car. And I'm going to continue to drive this car. This is the car that I deliver pizza in and drive to go see the kids in and do everything. It's our lifeline. So the money I'm spending right now to keep it running is well worth it. Looking at the prices of the cars, and I don't equate the value that these vehicles give with the price. The price is way out of where the value is. And unfortunately, we have an endemic in this country of people paying way too much money every month for a car, and it's straining their budgets. And it's the old saying is we borrow money to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like. And I think vehicles are the one major reason people are so upside down in their finances is because they want the latest and the greatest and the bestest looking car so they can tell all their friends, look at me, I'm a success. But the reality is their payments are anywhere between $700 and $1,000 a month, and they're just choking on those payments. And that's sad. That is so sad. It wasn't that long ago, $700 a month was a good rent. Now you're looking at renting at the average is somewhere around $1,700 in this country, $1,700 a month for rent. Add on top of that a minimum of a $700 a month car payment. You're at $2,400 a month net just to have a place to live and to drive a car. That doesn't include feeding yourself, heating your home, buying internet, or any of the other things that cost money. So that's the reason. I'm just going to wrap this up. I just wanted to chat with you real quick. Wish you an awesome weekend. That's the reason I'm never buying a new car. I will continue to buy used cars that are good quality, and I will just keep driving in them until they don't drive anymore. I think you've already figured out that I take care of the cars that I have. I buy them well, hopefully, and I take care of them. But here's the conundrum. I'll leave you with this thought because this is deep. If people like you and I hold on to our cars and we don't trade them in to buy new cars, then what happens to all these cars? What happens? Now, there are plenty of videos that talk about what happens when cars don't sell. I'm not saying these cars don't sell, but I'll give you this last analogy. And I did this in the recent video about the real estate market, how that is frozen. And the reason is because people who are selling their homes, whether they're builders or owners of homes, they will not drop their price. Same thing is happening in the new car market. These prices are too high for the average American to afford without going into massive amounts of debt. So it's very much like if your sink gets a clog and you keep pouring water into that sink, you know what happens. It just will continually fill up and fill up. We have that problem in the housing industry, the residential housing market, and we have that problem here in the retail automobile market. As there is a clog in the system and the inventory keeps piling up. And the only way to remove that clog in the system, very much like you would with a clog in your sink, is you got to fix it and you got to pull it out because nothing's happening behind it. And once that clog is removed, that's when things start moving again. So I'm convinced the clog in our system right now is the prices on cars and homes, things that the normal American consumer needs, are too high. Now, I didn't say wants, I said needs. This is a need for most Americans, is transportation and housing. A want is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath house that you don't really have use for, or a $70,000 or $80,000 car. Those are wants. So once we get to the point where we determine what our wants are versus what our needs are, and we start moving the inventory, and I think the things that are happening in the economy, even though that everybody's telling you things are slowing down, once those two clogs are undone, housing and automobile, I think we're going to see our economy bounce back. It's going to take some time. The things that are happening in the economy right now with the bloodletting are very hard, but we need to do it so that all of us will have new jobs, better jobs, more affordable housing, more affordable automobiles, And look at the price of groceries. Oh boy. Just over the past week or so, everything's gone up 5% by my calculation. You can blame that on tariffs. You can blame that on what have you. It doesn't matter. Prices are up. So here's some encouragement. Enjoy the day that God has given you, as I'm doing. I'm blessed enough to be able to come to this dealership and have the work done. I'll probably never have to come back because this is the 150,000 mile work. It would be great if I got another 150,000 miles out of this car, but I don't expect it. But I will not be back to buy a new car until the prices come down. So the encouragement to you is keep fighting the good fight. Do it with a smile on your face and be happy that you live in the greatest country in the world, because everything I've just talked about, these are first world problems. There are people in other countries that we'll never meet and we'll never visit that don't have clean running water. They don't have beds that are clean to climb into. They don't have enough food to eat. And here we are as Americans complaining about the price of avocados and vehicles. So just remember where you live, remember the God that you serve, and give thanks for both. And until next time, thanks for hanging out with Popsy Guy. Bye-bye.